Patreon, going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or learn about me episodes once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore, currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed, where there will be the first episode of every season released there, so you can try that before you head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first 2 tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary, Man with 1,000 Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed, so you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/realityt times 2, and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it. Even if you are on other tier, if you are on tier 1 or the first tier and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/realityt times 2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. This episode is ad-free on the Patreon. So if you want to partake in that, you can head on over to patreon.com/realityt times 2. Welcome to Reality T times 2, a podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we're going to be discussing The Last Resort, episode 8. So yeah, I don't think we have anything to talk about at the top of the episode. Let's just get into it. So we kind of left off with the whole fight situation between Rebecca and Ziad. She says, "You don't get to say that I'm not a good wife." She takes off at this point. Seems interesting that she says that Zia takes off and she does the exact same thing. But anyways, and she is called up by Dr. Tyrone for taking off like that. It's true. Like, face the issues. Don't run away. And better yet, don't complain when he does this thing that you are now doing yourself. When Ziad says, "Sometimes I feel like we should just break up the marriage," I'd say. But he explains, it's not that she is not a good wife. And I don't think that's what he's trying to say. I do not think he's trying to say that she's a bad wife, she's not a good wife, this, that, or the other. I kind of will probably maybe explain this a little bit more, or maybe not so much explain this a little bit more, but probably will when we kind of go through the most recent episode that aired on Monday, because those were things that I was discussing while watching that episode. This is a person that I think just wants time with his wife. That, yes, he's bringing things in like, cook for me, blah, 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 which I really think his core request from Rebecca is work-life balance. And it appears that she is not maintaining the work-life balance. There has to be, yes, you have to work. Yes, you have to make the money. You got to pay the bills, all of that. But you are a married woman. You also need to create time or space within your marriage. Maybe set out an hour or so to spend with each other talking, or just sitting on the couch watching television together and being present with each other. If you can't do that necessarily every night, then do it a couple times a week. Like, create that. And I think that is what he's asking for. And I don't understand why she's missing that and why she's not getting that. Meanwhile, Shekinah is talking shit because she's frustrated, I think, as we kind of the viewers are as well, how Rebecca's kind of handling this. But she takes it too far, as always, by saying, how does he fuck her? What? G- What? How are we getting there? And Sarper actually says, don't say that. Because, like, number one, not your business. Number two, you can have a perfect sex life, but everything else is in shambles. Like, you know what I mean? It's a weird comment to make. And he says, listen, I'll back her up in any condition, meaning Sarper, but I will not fight her. I don't want to get deported from the tent. So he's gonna, let it be for now. We then move on to Russ and Powell and the issue again about sex and him taking the initiative and actually making her freaking climax would be nice. She says, I'll put on sexy pajamas or assuming lingerie and I have to like spell it out for him. Listen. I might be putting this section on the Patreon. So if you want to hear this, you gotta go over there because it's gonna get a little X-rated. If I'm walking around with nothing on, or if I'm walking around with lingerie on, or even just the other day when I walk into our place and he is putting pajama pants on, and I'm going over there and being like, why bother? And I'm pulling on that shit. You don't necessarily have to spell it out, and you shouldn't have to spell it out in those moments. It should just be known. You know what I mean? I don't know what the issue is with Russ, but I wonder if part of the problem for him is maybe he can't get himself there because he has been feeling emasculated. I don't know. But like, these are things that he has to communicate to her so that you can get to a place where she's satisfied and he's satisfied. Like, I just don't understand how you've been with someone for 12 years and you don't know how to lick pussy. Like, I just don't. I Or if you've been a sexual anything, whether at any point of your life, maybe she's his first, I don't freaking know. But it's like, how do you, but again, even if she is, it's been what? They've been together for what? Almost 15 years together, married, dating, all of that for almost, or if not 15 years. You really trying to tell me that you don't know how to do this? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense, but neither here nor there. And Dr. Tyrone is clearly siding with Paula on this, which is some bullshit, honestly. You're a therapist, Dr. Tyrone. You are supposed to be neutral. You can't be siding with one or the other. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to take your Erica Badu's card away because your name is Dr. Tyrone. Initially, I was thinking, you better call Tyrone. No one call Tyrone. No one call him because he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Let's move on. We move on to Kara and Guillermo, and Guillermo worries about their son, Nico, being bullied because of Kara and what she's doing on the side. Which is about everything I do puts him in the epicenter. Yes, I do. You know what? There's no denying that maybe that is the case. But I do hear what Guillermo saying. You're not just a woman who, you're not like the secret lives, a suburban wives type situation, pre being on television, where maybe people aren't seeing those things, you know what I mean? Or at least, you're able to hide it better. You're freaking Kara from 90 Day Fiance. Your face is known. We know who you are. This is what, your fourth season, not including Pillow Talk. Like, we know who you are. And we're going to continue knowing who you are for a while, because I'm telling you, we're not done with Kara and Guillermo. One or both of them are going to end up being on like The Single Life or something, or, you know, Love in Paradise. What's the other one there? Um, the other show there, A Hunt for Love, y'all gonna be a part of this universe for a long time. And kids are mean. Kids are shit, okay? They're little shits. And he potentially could be bullied because of his mother's choice of doing this. It's not invalid what Guillermo is saying, but it's also not invalid what she's saying. I just don't know what you do, in a situation. I think I really truly think there are holes in this, meaning we are not addressing everything. Our main focus right now is Kara and her being a sex worker. When it's like, okay, yes, that's one part of the problem. Maybe her drinking too much is another part of the problem. But we're also not talking about Guillermo. He's got problems too, y'all, and we're not even talking about that. Okay, you want her to stop doing this, but I don't. That's again his right to say, and it's his right to put boundaries in place for what he needs and expects from his wife, in order to rekindle this relationship. Um, but she also has the right to say, not so much match what I'm making. I don't even think that's necessarily the issue here. I think for her, it's having financial security. What men don't get is financial security does not mean you're making six figures. No, not at all. What we mean by that is you make money, you're paying your bills, and at the end of the day, you know, shit happens, but we never have to worry about how a bill's going to get paid. For some women, it could mean you making six figures, but I think for the majority of women, it's, I just need that financial security of the bills will be paid one way or another. And I think Guillermo has proven to Kara that there are times that she doesn't know if a bill's gonna get paid. That's not financial security. So this is the problem. We're only focusing on her and what he needs from her, but we're not focusing on her needs from him. And it's driving me a little bit nuts. But anyways, um, so she says she loved him and he broke them and they're separated, but yes. Um, and she wants to feel appreciated. And he says selling adult content is nothing for him to be proud of, which again, his right. His terms are to stop doing that, and she doesn't. So then it will be done. Um, she says, I only did it because it was a need. And he says, no, it wasn't. When you started, it wasn't a need, which again, I agree with him on that. Maybe it's a need now, but initially when you started, while you were still married to the man, it wasn't a need. Um, there needs to be a common ground, but is there something that we could start with? Dr. Tyrone asked. He's like, if he could check his emotions, is what she says, which wrong way to say it, but okay. He says, I could give her respect. And Dr. Tyrone says, maybe you could relax your body and just talk to her like a human. Totally get it. So we in there, we're done with that. We're done with therapy for tonight. We're so happy that people stuck around and listened to everyone. That was a dig at Shekinah and well, partially Sarper. While in the tent, though, Guillermo's like, don't touch me. Give me space. And she says, so the respect conversation completely just went out the window, which But if he wants space, he wants space. I think, again, it goes back to his conversation about sex and the fact that he felt used by her when they did have sex after they separated. He doesn't trust her. And I mean, again, he's allowed to have his space and his boundaries here. Anyways, we're going to take a quick break here because I actually have to stop here and record my other podcast. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will jump into the next morning. Hi, everyone. I got something new for you. Zoe Jewelry. Now, Zoe Jewelry is a Calgary-based, women-owned brand dedicated to creating unique, high-quality jewelry and eco-friendly hair accessories that reflect your individuality and style. The name Zoe is deeply meaningful to the brand. It's named after their beloved dog, whose joyful spirit continues to inspire their designs. Each piece is thoughtfully crafted to stand the test of time, blending contemporary elegance with everyday wearability. You can explore their products over at zoejewelry.ca. There you can get earrings, necklaces, rings, bracelets, even hair claw clips. You can head on over to the website with our code that is going to not only support them, but support us. You can head on over to zoejewelry.ca/reality and go shop their stuff. Okay, so the next morning we are cooking breakfast. Guillermo is making, I think it's Aperez. Did I say that right? Aperez. Did I say that right? Anyways, whatever it is, it looks real good. We have a conversation about Kara pooping in the woods. Okay, because we needed this information. If I had to hear it, you're going to hear it. She basically squat, you push, you walk away. And Guillermo's like, did you wipe? No, I said, did you wipe? He asked if she washed her hands. She didn't wash her hands. Did she wipe? And if so, what did she wipe with? I have many questions because, like, what? This is why I don't camp. This is exactly why I've never camped. I have gone to a cottage, that obviously has like a septic tank, but like never camping. Not for me. No, thank you. Anyways, Shekinah's like, everyone hates us. No, girl, everyone hates you. There's a difference. Sorry about it. Anyways, he says, I just don't want you to fight with anyone. She's like, okay, so then I'll just shut my mouth. That was the problem initially. You didn't shut your mouth. Like, again, I'll stand by what I say here. Thais is in the wrong. Shekinah's in the wrong. But if Shekinah never said shit or this shit, it wouldn't be like this. It would not be like this for her. So that the group is like, or we hear them say, I am happy. We have everyone here. We're all here. Meanwhile, just Shekinah and Sarper are off in the distance. Guillermo gives Kara her vibrator that she apparently grabbed out of the pile. So if you remember, when they have the pile of stuff, peanut butter, bread, toilet, that kind of thing, where you had to pick like one item. Apparently, Kara picked another item, and it was the vibrator. She's like, I'm good. I don't need the lube. I think she says, and I quote, I'm wet enough, or I'm wet on my own, something like that. Anyways, but she got it for Paula since, like, girl, you appear to need it. But turns out that maybe Thais should be giving it a try because she's never used a vibrator before. Huh. Okay. I feel like everyone should try a vibrator at least once in their life. It could be life-changing. But now, we got another challenge. We head back to the quarry where we will not be leaving. Instead, we're going to be abseiling, or for everyone else who maybe doesn't understand what abseiling is, going to be rappelling down the goddamn rock quarry. Again, I am too black for this. Jenny also thinks that maybe she's just too black for this because she says, I think not. Great podcast. One of my favorites, anyways. Sarper is afraid of heights. So this will be interesting. But this whole situation of rappelling down a rock quarry is about communication. One is going to be watching and guiding them to like a card. We'll get to that. While the other is going to be rappelling down the rock quarry to get said card. So I'm going to basically be going based off the people who are rappelling down. You know the math here. So Shekinah and Patrick. So actually they're not the ones who did it. So Sarper and Thais, they're the ones that are going down the rock quarry. And they get their first cards. I can't remember what their cards are, but they're basically animals. They each get an animal and they have to get the matching animal. So Sarper, he's freaking out about this because again, he's afraid of heights. And she is, but Shekinah, she's perfectly guiding him to the card. And it goes very well. But now it's Thais' turn. She's freaking out. Watching her dangling, Patrick says, is showing him how strong she is. And he says that he forgets that sometimes, which is like, to me, when I heard him say that, it's great to know that he can kind of get there. But at the same time, I'm kind of thinking, so is that like a taking for granted situation? Like, I'm not too sure where that's coming from, but either way, he says he forgets how strong she really is. And he says it's also taking everything in him to not climb up that wall and like save her or, whatever. But then she's freaking out, as I've mentioned, and Sarper helps her. He's going through his own turmoil at this moment because he's afraid of heights, but he still takes that time and that mental strength to help her in that moment. And it's so sweet. And listen, the first season of Sarper and Shekinah, I couldn't stand either of them, right? And I said this before. I've come out of that season loving Sarper and still can't stand Shekinah. And it's this moment where it's like, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care if I hate you. I don't care if you're my enemy. I don't care who you are. The fact that my man will stop in a moment of his own distress, especially, to help another woman in a situation like this, that's goddamn keeper. Sarper's a good man to his core, despite the 2,500. He's a good man. And this is why he's become so loved. He's funny, unintentionally sometimes funny, and he's likable. And then you have these soft moments with him where he's caring, not just about Shekinah, but, for others. And that is a great quality to have in a man. I say all of this, though, because Shekinah, on the other hand, is pissed. Okay? She says, and I don't doubt where this is coming from. I truly hope this isn't true. But she says if the roles were reversed, Patrick wouldn't help her. And again, I really truly hope that is not the case. I really truly hope that any man in a situation, besides Sarper, in a similar situation with Shekinah, where Shekinah is also in a similar state as Thais in that moment, despite their differences, would help her and not just leave her there to figure it out for herself. I truly hope that that's the case, but I also understand from Shekinah's point of view, where everyone hates her, that she probably doesn't think that she's in a safe space with any of these people. I get that. But at the end of the day, one of you if not most of you, need to be the adult and the bigger person in this situation. And at the end of the day, yeah, you feel that way, and I'm sad you do. It didn't have to be like this. But at the other hand, it's like, do you want a man who's just going to leave a woman up there on her own to figure it out for herself? Like, no, no one wants that. Um, so I feel like really and truly, Sarper would have been damned if he did or damned if he didn't. And the thing is like she kept saying to him, like, focus on yourself, focus on yourself. And it's like, well, no one's stupid. We know why you're saying that to him. Sometimes you forget that, like, besides Jenny obviously being the oldest one here, Rebecca's the second oldest woman. I think the second oldest generally. And then it's between Sarper and Shekinah. She's old enough to know better. Like, I want to, like, ask her in the situation. It's like, okay, what if your daughter's in that situation and you don't particularly like somebody, or she doesn't like somebody, or whatever, right? Wouldn't you not want your daughter to be given the same treatment that Sarper just gave Thais? She's so in her own head that she can't look past it. I don't know if it's she's a selfish bitch. I don't know if it's her upbringing. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's both, but it's ridiculous. She needs to grow the fuck up. Um, he says to her, Sarper says to her, like, what do you want me to do? I think she would have been perfectly fine if you let her drop to her death. That's what it feels like. Again, same energy I was giving to the whole Patrick situation. I would hope that that is not what Shekinah wants. But I don't know. And if that is truly what you want, well, then you're more monstrous than we realize. And she's like, well, you're helping my enemy. Like, you're not loyal. What the fuck? Yeah. But I can't. We can't make this shit up. She's fucking insane. She's not helping her cause here. At this point, I don't think she cares to help her cause. But obviously what we'll see with the next episode is she does care about her cause. And she wants to fix her cause. But it's like, you're not helping when you say shit like this. Because what is going to happen, even if you do mend certain fences after all of this shit, we're all going to see this play out again on the tell-all. And guess what, guys? She's not going to think any differently. She's going to think the same way she did when she filmed this fucking show, a year ago? Nothing is going to change. So she's still going to be goddamn tone deaf and selfish and think she did nothing wrong. She said nothing wrong. She's constantly going to defend herself. And I'm not talking about the comment heard around the world. That's a whole separate situation. I just mean this isolated situation with this challenge of climbing down rappelling down a goddamn rock quarry. This situation. She's going to think, I did and said nothing wrong because he wasn't loyal. Like, she sucks. Anyways, that is it for this episode. We'll be back with another one soon enough. But until then, that is it for me. And that is it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, bear with me because I have not done an outro for the podcast in quite some time. So bear with me here. So if you liked what you heard, you can go to any of your favorite podcast apps. You can follow, make sure you don't miss a single episode. And you can also rate the podcast at either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It'd be greatly appreciated. As a reminder, any 5-star ratings that are given to the podcast or any comments that are given to the podcast will be read on the podcast, which I have done in the past. If you want to connect with the podcast through social media, you can find me at Facebook and Instagram at Reality Tea times 2. You can also find me at Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Reality times 2 pod, I believe. You can email me at realitytea times 2 at hotmail.com, and you can have any inquiries, anything like that, any ideas, any shows or episodes you want me to cover, you can definitely do that over there. And I am going back to our old website, and that is at solo.to/reality tea times 2. There you can get any of the links to anything that I didn't mention here, any of the socials, website, email, all of that. It's all there for you. And we also have a new thing there where you can help support the podcast as well. It's called a tip jar. And you can tip whatever your heart's desire if you want to support the podcast, but don't want to necessarily support the podcast in going to Patreon, for example, or any of the links in any of the advertisements. You can do it there. But since we're on the topic of Patreon, you can head on over to patreon.com/reality tea times 2, where there you can get access to even more than what I do here. There are 3 different tiers where you can get these shows ad free, as well as our next tier up where you would get another reality show that's being covered. So, we have Jersey Shore that's been getting covered. That's still being covered currently at the time of recording of this outro, but the future is bright with what's to come in the future, which I will be discussing, or I have discussed. I don't even know. And then also our next tier is a true crime tier as well. So you can definitely head over for that. But that is basically it. I will also just quickly mention here too, if you're interested in a different take of a podcast that I'm a part of, we do things a little differently, you can head on over to Next Take Podcast, where I usually drop bonus episodes here on this feed, but there you get a lot more. And that podcast is making changes. We're growing, doing new things, but you can definitely head on over there if you want to just hear a little bit different than what I do over here. So you can find that podcast over at our website, solo.to/next take podcast. And there we'll have all the links to your desire that will link you to any of your favorite podcast apps or YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of it. Social medias, it's all over there. But of course, you can still find that podcast at any of your favorite podcast apps. But that is it for this episode. We'll see you next time with another episode. Bye, everybody.